We all love finding a bargain in Football Manager, so today I'm going to be showing you 10 of my favourites. These are 10 cheap beasts that I don't think we've ever showcased on the channel before. Maybe one or two of them might have appeared here or there, but these are 10 players that I found recently that you can sign for under £1 million, all 10 of them, and a lot of them have some unreal quality that makes them must-sign players in FM24. But I'm not going to keep you waiting, we'll get straight into the 10 for today's video, and we kick off with one of my favourites from this list. He is a player that is available for under £1 million. In fact, you're probably looking at about 500 to 600,000 for a 22-year-old left winger who can also play as a 10 and is actually very versatile, who plays for Polokwane City, who are in the South African divisions. The name of this guy is Oswin Appollis. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but he is a very direct winger who likes to run with the ball often, and that works perfectly for the attributes that he has. 16 flair, 16 dribbling, a nice bit of pace as well to try and beat a man, but he's not useless at everything else either. I mean, he's got good first touch, nice free kicks if you're into that, nice passing, vision and technique, as well as decent finishing, and all round the set piece game is actually pretty good with 12 corners and 11 penalties, 11 long shots too. Now, is he going to be the next Lionel Messi? Obviously not. But this player being 22 has still got potential, and for that kind of value, you really can't knock it. If you're, say, a championship team looking to get promoted, this is the kind of player that will do you wonders, and these are the guys that we love signing in our saves, because you sign one like this for under £1 million, in a few years you might sell him for 10, 15 million, and suddenly that changes the whole course of where your club's going. Getting a good bargain like this can set the course for your whole save, but we've got another 9 players to look at still, the same quality as the one I've just shown you. So before we get into that, if you do go on to enjoy the video, make sure you smash the like button for us, and of course subscribe too, as we get so close now to 200k subs. Currently at the time of recording it's 199k, so we're getting very close, so any support would be great. And remember to comment down below your favourite cheap beast. The cheaper the better, because that way we can talk about them in future videos. Don't get me wrong, there's some other great cheap players I'm not covering today, but these are guys that I don't think we've ever spoken about that all represent great value for money. But it's not just the flair players and the attackers we're going to show today. We've got players across the whole pitch, and we have a centre-back to talk about next. This is Svetozar Markovic, who is a Serbian 23-year-old defender who's been at Partizan Belgrade out in Serbia for a number of years now. He did at one point move to Greece for a little bit and ended up coming back, but Partizan have got a great player on their hands here. You're looking at about 600, 500k really for a player that's only on £2 a week, so you're not going to have to offer him a major deal. And again, I'm talking high-level championship maybe for this guy right away, and being 23, he's of course got time to get better. In fact, his physical attributes probably don't even need an improvement. He's good in pretty much every single area, which will make him great in the in-game engine this year. Those physical players, the strong ones, the tall ones, the quick ones, do so well, so to have all three goes to show this guy could be a real handful. 6'1", great jumping, reach and heading, so he'll be handy from a corner, and he's not too bad when it comes to the actual defensive side either, with 14 marking, 13 positioning, 13 tackling. Honestly, if this guy was English and playing for, I don't know, Crystal Palace, you'd be looking at a 5, 6, 7 million pound player here, and you can pick him up here for only 500k. He's also good on the ball too. Is he the world's best ball playing defender? No. I'd opt to use him in a central defender role, or maybe even no nonsense. On the ball, he's not amazing, but he's not terrible either. 11 passing, 10 vision and 11 technique you can certainly work with, and overall he's just a very good pickup for such a shrewd price. If you're after a bit more experience in your team though, then look no further than 27-year-old Jean-Philippe Gbamin. He's a name that I've came across so many times, but I still don't know how to pronounce it, so if anybody does know, drop it in the comments. But you might remember his name from his time at Everton, where he was for a while. After a huge £22 million move, he then basically went on to do absolutely nothing. A forgotten man really. 2 appearances followed by 1, then 3, ended up out in Russia on loan, then to Turkey, and eventually got a free contract deal at USL Dunkirk. I mean, they're a team who are in, what division are they? Second tier of France? Yeah, second tier of French football. Clearly way too good for that level. This is a man that was a £22 million player. He's an international, and he's not like a 35-year-old that's lost his legs. No, he's still 27. He's in his prime, and he's still got the physical attributes. There is nothing wrong with this guy, and he is destined for far bigger things than where he is right now. Now, granted, are his hidden attributes amazing? Not necessarily, but I think for the price, you can maybe forgive that. 500k for an unreal player, a star player for not just his club, but the whole league that he's in Ligue 2. So if you're a team maybe in Ligue 1, or again, if if you're looking to get promoted from the Championship, even low-level Premier League, I think Jean-Philippe could be an unreal signing for the price. So I think we've given you 3 very good players to check out so far. There's another 7 to come, but just to let you know, I do have my own channel as well, linked in the description down below. If you want to check it out, I do more Football Manager content over there, from YouTube shorts about Wonderkids you might not have heard of, to full weekly 40-minute rebuilds where in the space of one video, we'll take over a struggling team and restore them across 5 seasons. I'm very proud of the work that I do on there with those rebuild videos, so if you want to check them out, I'd massively appreciate it, particularly on the road to 50k subs. But let's get back to our list, where we have the first in a quartet of Spanish players that I'm going to take a look at now. The first one is a 25-year-old middle-aged Alex Carbonell. He is playing for Aranda. They're a team in the second tier of Spanish football, and on their hands is a great talent here. The man is super versatile, can play anywhere along the spine, but realistically, I think as a DM, maybe even as a centre-back, he would do a great job. Even maybe box-to-box ball-winning midfielder. He's brilliant on the ball. I mean, you look at him and he is the ultimate all-round player, physically, mentally, technically, gifted in every aspect of the game. Now, is he going to score a million goals? No. Is he going to be the best defensive midfielder in the world? No. Is he the best creator? No, but he's good at everything at a decent level. He's also got some great player traits as well, particularly if you are after a ball-playing defender, having him try to play his way out of trouble, having bringing the ball out of defence and switching the ball to wide areas could be great in the football that you're trying to play at your club. And for only 700, 800k maybe, he really is one of those no-brainer signings that we've talked about. Now, he's got a release clause of 2.7 million. No idea how he's worth less than that. He hasn't been at his club for too long, only recently signed and haven't been let go by Barcelona, so you won't be able to sign him instantly, but come January, put in a bid, bring him to your club, and you won't regret it. We continue the Spaniards, though, with Diego Pampin, who plays for Andorra in the second tier of Spanish football. Now, if you have an updated database on, some of these players may have moved. This is the standard Football Manager database after the winter update, which most people will be using, but if you are using an updated one, a modded one with new transfers and whatnot, some of these guys might have moved clubs, their value might be shifted slightly, but I still think they'll all be great options for the prices they're at, unless, you know, this guy's suddenly 10 million, at which point look away. But, you know, if he is in your save anywhere below 3-4 million, great. If he's in your save for this price, which he is for me, of around 500k, I mean, no-brainer signing written all over him. Diego Pampin is a 23-year-old left-footed wide player who plays in that left-back spot and primarily likes to move forward with the ball. He's maybe not the best defensively with only 8 marking, and his technique lacks a little bit, but I mean 12 crossing, a nice bit of dribbling ability, first touch, passing, tackling. He's very good mentally, and he's good when it comes to the physical attributes as well. He's definitely a fullback that suits the Spanish league, the more technical side of the game. With only 6 strength, 9 jumping reach, he might struggle in a more physical league, but I mean, Andorra have got a gem here. He's an important player at a club in the second tier, and I think he can go far beyond that. If we're talking Spanish leagues, La Liga, relegation level side, this is the kind of guy you want to pick up. And for only about 700, 500k, he really is a player that I think if you signed, you would have no regrets about. You'd easily be selling him for 10 times the price in no time. If you're looking for a more forward-thinking option in your team, though, then Antonio Moyano could be a great pick. A 22-year-old star player at his team, which is Sabadell in the Spanish tiers. He is someone that originally came through at Cordoba and has got a lot of appearances under his belt across all different levels of football. Now, though, he is available at his new club for a very cheap price. Again, won't be able to sign him straight away, wait a half a season or so, and then get a look in. But obviously that gives you time to scout him and see what your scouts think of him, see if there's any issues that would put you off. But I mean, I don't think there will be. 400k for a player that can play anywhere on the pitch, attacking midfield, central midfield being the best areas, I think, potentially as a forward-thinking midfielder, whether that's a playmaker, a Manzala, or even I was looking at box-to-box and thinking, you know what? He do a pretty good job there. As you can see, highlighted attributes, there's not too much he's lacking. Maybe the positioning at a push, but he's very good in all areas. The kind of player I think you could get behind in your team for that kind of price. He's someone that's maybe not going to go on to elite levels, and I think that should be said for a lot of these guys. They're obviously not going to be good enough if you get, say, top level of the Premier League, but for those lower level teams, you're not always after that. You want the kind of guy you can pick up for cheap, flip on for big profit, and see him do well for your side. And I think Antonio Moyano is the kind of player that will do exactly that. But we still have one final Spanish player in the four that I wanted to look at, and this one is playing for Lugo, who are a team in the Spanish divisions again, but not the top 2 tiers. His name is Antonio Aranda. He's a 22-year-old Spaniard who came through at Granada and then went through the Barcelona system, only to end up at Lugo as a free agent, where actually He is far too good for that level. £300,000 for a left winger who can also play attacking midfield or centre mid. It's up to you where you want to use him, but I think he's got the ability to do well in all areas. Normally, I look at some of these players and say, don't play him there, play him here. But I actually think, you know what? He'd be a good left winger, nice dribbler, able to get past his man. He'd also be a pretty good attacking midfielder with the creativity, the passing, the 15 technique, and the vision. And then centre mid, maybe the one place I wouldn't fully recommend him, but he's not going to be terrible there, particularly in a forward-thinking role like Mazzala. I just think you might want his finishing to be a little bit higher. But with tries, tricks, likes to beat opponent repeatedly and run with the ball often, I think for me, inverted winger on this right-hand side could be a great role for him. If you take a look at the attributes needed for that, he is shining. Maybe long shots is the only place where really he lacks, but everything else is at a very good level. In fact, a La Liga standard, I would say, and he's out here in the third tier, available for so cheap. You put some money up front and you will not regret it. Again, even in the worst case scenario, you'd at least make your money back in theory. It's not like it's going to go wrong for you. So I think Antonio Aranda is the kind of player that will really help any team looking for a nice dynamic winger who can also help across the pitch. Enough forward-thinking players though, let's drop it back to centre-back or potentially midfield or DM, depending on where you want to use Rivaldo Coetzee, who is a player that I've looked at a few times in Football Manager over the years because he's always a bargain. He's a 26-year-old international who's been at Mamelodi Sundowns for a number of years now, and he is a little bit of a freak in Football Manager, I'll put it that way, because he's 26 years of age, heading into his prime, and whilst at 5'10" you might look at him and think, not the best defender, I wouldn't really want someone being 5'10", and physically he does lack. He's got attributes that blow some players out of the water. In fact, prove to me any other defender that has 18 passing. There's probably only a few in world football. 17 off the ball work, 17 positioning. I actually think, in fact, I wouldn't play him centre-back now looking at him. Maybe in some kind of defensive midfield role. He's a very unique profile, don't get me wrong. Likes to bring the ball out of defence, tries long-range passes. He's not the best tackler in the world, so yeah, maybe centre-back. I would be wrong in that. Maybe further forward is the place for him. I don't necessarily think he's going to score you goals, so in this DM role, maybe Segundo Volante at suggesting could suit him quite nicely. He's just got some great attributes. Like, you don't really see this in a player normally. He's a decent leader, he's determined as well, but he's just going to be such a fun player to watch. 18 passing, 17 positioning, 17 off the ball. No wonder he's wanted by a Chinese club here, but I mean, if you're a club of decent reputation, I'm sure you could get him into your squad, and again, he's not going to cost anything. In fact, he's probably the cheapest of what we've seen so far. Probably the player with the most elite potential in this whole video, though, is Daniel Ruiz, who is a 21-year-old Colombian, younger than most, and for that reason, I think even if you are a top club, he could be a great pickup. He's definitely a profit maker, playing at Millonarios out in the Colombian divisions. You can sign this guy for 500k, and you get a Premier League level winger instantly at only 21. A Colombian international. If you want to say high-level championship, I think he's the kind of player that would take you to promotion. He's that good. And in the Prem, I think he'd do a good job. He's obviously got years to get better yet as well. Potential to get better than he is. He's got some great attributes. I don't really need to sell him to you all that much. I mean, great finishing, dribbling ability, crossing, first touch, everything you'd want technically. And he's gifted both mentally and physically too. Now, left-footed on the left wing, how are you going to play him? Maybe as a winger, but I actually think I'd kind of forgo it a little bit and have him as an inside forward on that left side. I know he's maybe not right-footed, but I still think he'll find a chance to score. If not, inverted winger would still do a great job for him. Again, an absolute bargain, but I've seen in a lot of saves he doesn't stick around Millonarios for long. I've seen him at Arsenal sometimes, Chelsea. They always seem to find him as a good bargain, never really use him, and then you pick him up a few years down the line when he's kind of used his potential up and he's not really going to become anything great. But either way, for this price, even if he never developed again, he is worth signing. But my final pick is one of the oldest players in this video. In fact, I think he might be the oldest. It's Patrick Olsen, a 29-year-old Danish former under-21 international who now plays his football out in Poland. He plays for a club called Slask Wrocław. I don't know exactly how you pronounce that. I think the AW sound in Polish is of. Maybe I'm wrong. I might be totally wrong there. But either way, you can see how it's spelled. Don't listen to my pronunciation. I'm not Polish by any stretch of the imagination. But he is an either-footed central midfielder, and like many players in this video, is actually quite versatile. I didn't mean to do that, but there you go. But I think centre mid is where you're going to use him anyway. I think box to box is exactly what I do with him. He can tackle, he can pass, he can score goals, he works hard, exactly what you'd want to see. Does lack a bit physically when it comes to getting up and down the pitch with that pace, and the natural fitness also maybe not great. He's not going to be one for the long term, but if you're after a good option for your team, 200, 300k, a great signing for a mid-table championship side, and I think he would elevate your level level quite a lot. He's definitely better than where he's playing currently, no offense to the Polish divisions, but I think this guy is a great option. He's been at his club for a couple of years now, so it's not like you need to wait either. At one point was at Inter Milan apparently, I do not remember that, maybe some of you did, but Patrick Olsen I think is a great one to finish on, and there's 10 cheap beasts under $1 million for you to sign in your saves. Let me know your favourites down below who weren't included, and we'll try and include them in a future video. Thank you for watching, thanks for the support, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.